Hey garden pals, it's about 5 o'clock. It is June 3rd, a Wednesday, and it's about 85 degrees outside, and it is pretty toasty. I thought I'd give you a little tour of what our garden's looking like right now. So you can see we've got 3 rows of carrots, and they're looking good. I just weeded. We didn't mulch them. We haven't fenced them in yet. But we are planning on putting a fence up because the one year that I did get carrots to grow, they got eaten at the tops. So we figure some sort of creature like a rabbit or something got in. And over here we have 3 little lettuce growths and 2 greens. I'm not exactly sure what kind of greens, but unlike the kale, they've been left alone by the little bugs. So I'm assuming they're both something different. Maybe collards. So over here we've got some mustard greens that have kind of sprouted out of control, and I think they're not really commonly grown in the Midwest, so I don't know really what to do about those. Behind that we have a row of lettuce. I think what we're going to do with that is leave it closely spaced. So let me take it over. We're going to leave it closely spaced and just pick as we go when they're about this size, and they'll just keep coming up and we'll keep picking. And so yeah, you can see the mustard greens have also gotten hit by bugs pretty hard. You can see these little black bugs. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but I'm grateful they don't bother the lettuce anyway. So we've got 3 more heads of lettuce coming up here. I honestly haven't grown lettuce before, so I don't know what to expect. I don't know if we should just leave them be until they've got a full head and then we take all that. But I guess we'll see. So here we have peas. I'd say a third of what we grew was taken out by the frost, and some of them, like over here, look a little bit stunted. But I'm pretty happy with how they're coming up. They're attaching to the trellises. They're starting to flower. So I'm looking forward to peas. We learn now that if there is a early May frost or a late spring frost, that we should cover the peas. Over here we have kale in the middle, and that's getting hit pretty hard by the bugs also. It doesn't make it inedible, but it's not great. So the best thing we could do, there's 2 things. We could cover them with row cover, or we could spray them with like a soap mixture, and the soap will deter the bugs. So we haven't done that yet, and the trick with that is you have to come out after it rains and keep reapplying it. So yeah, we've got I think 4 different kinds of kale. I bought some starts, so I don't know exactly what they all are. I know that this is Lacinto kale, and we've got 4 little guys, and they're getting hit pretty hard with the bugs. We've got a couple little beets. I did try to grow beets with the radishes, and it kind of worked, but because of all the kale I planted, they kind of got crowded in by the kale, so I picked one that was just kind of in the shadow of the kale, just a little bit. Actually, we could eat these greens, so I probably will take those. So this kale over here is dwarf Siberian. And I don't know why it's called dwarf, because it gets really big. So I don't know if we're supposed to pick it when it's smaller, because when it's big it does have a lot of stem. But I really don't know how small we would even pick it. So who knows? And this is another one that we got to start for. And this one seems to be bothered the least by the bugs. And what's interesting is that the dwarf Siberian kale, I was pretty sure when we grew it last year it was fuzzy. We had one that was fuzzy and one that wasn't. And the fuzzy one wasn't bothered by bugs at all. But we have two plants of the dwarf Siberian, and neither of them are fuzzy, but it appears to be the same kind. So here we have a row of turnips, which is another thing I haven't grown before. You can see, let's see if we can get in. There's a lot of bugs, there's a lot of weeds around these, but in one of these I could see, I don't know if you can see a little bit of the bulb. So I don't really know when I would be picking turnips, but I don't think it's for a while yet. So we put in a row of beans. We really ought to plant a second row here. Right now the rest of this is just kind of weeds. And they seem to be coming up pretty good. A little bit. I mean, I would have expected maybe more to come up, and for some reason that didn't happen, but the ones that came up are coming up well. So our intent is to put another row of beans and then a couple spots of squash here. And we just planted some tomatoes. We've got a bunch of different kinds. We labeled them. We planted them really deep because the hairs on a tomato grow into roots, and so planting it really deep gives it a good solid root system. But the other thing that we had wanted to do with the tomatoes is to put down fresh soil, and we just didn't have the chance to get to the hardware store. You know, there's a pandemic right now, and so we didn't do that. So we're hoping just good old-fashioned fertilizer will do enough for them. Over here we have a little buddy. I think they're called cowbirds. They've got sort of a digital noise, imho. And then also here we have two little basil plants, and we have one potted at home as well. So we're kind of just waiting on the tomatoes. Hopefully once they've rooted in really good, they'll come up big and strong. We've got a mix of cherry and regular tomatoes and one Roma planting, and so all of them are indeterminate except for the Roma, which means that they should get pretty large. Originally our plan was to stake them, but we honestly don't really know how to do that. And, looking into it online didn't really help. So instead we sort of put stakes and cages, so maybe we can supplement it somehow. I don't know. Maybe we won't use the stakes at all. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it as far as the garden goes. Just did a little bit of weeding, some harvesting today, because I don't think we'll be out here for another few days this week. We got a big rain last night, or at least a good rain, maybe not a big rain. So I'm not gonna water. Yeah, I guess that's the garden update for today. Thanks for tuning in.